guys again.
Hello?
That was really loud, but yeah. Hi everyone that's watching. Welcome to episode
pretty
2.
cool.
Welcome to episode 2, Dust of Determination's new podcast. We have a special guest here. We have the driver of the number 97 car, Mark Stein. So we're gonna ask you some questions.
Well,
My name is Devon Stein. I'm gonna be the
You're
host today.
Correct. And I will be co-hosting.
Isn't she beautiful?
Yes. I will be co-hosting. My name is Dan Stein. I am the driver of the 87 car for Time Stopping Motorsports. All right, Devin, kick it off with your questions.
Okay, we're gonna start from the beginning here. So you have been racing for a very long time. You've been in the racing world. We all know that. What inspired you to start racing?
Well, first was watching racing with my dad. We went to Grandview. And when Daniel was young, I took him. Me and my dad had the same conversation. Hey, someday we're going to build a car and we'll go racing. Me and Dan sat in the stands and said the same thing. And then eventually we started with his Nissan Altima.
Awesome.
And then we went from the Nissan Altima to the first cab, right?
Yeah, an auto cabbie, yeah.
And then when he was in the military on leave, deployment, we talked over the phone a lot, and we said we were going to build 2 cars. And then when he got back, we built my cab. And then I waited for about 6 months till his Honda was ready. And then we raced, was it 2021?
2022.
The
Yes.
End of 21 and the beginning
No,
of 22?
the end of 22. August of 2022 is our first race.
Awesome. What advice would you give newer drivers that are just starting out?
Just to be patient. A lot of people just think you jump in the car and you're going to win races. It's not going to happen. You need to see time. You need to learn the car, learn the track. You know, you see Daniel's first couple of races, he didn't even finish a race. Now he's finishing races and he's being more patient, so that's awesome.
Awesome. So how do you mentally prepare yourself before a race? Is there something you do? Listen to a certain song? Drink a Gatorade or something? What do you do to get in that right mind space?
I just like being there with everybody, so I don't really need a mindset. I did get claustrophobic the first couple races, and my sister taught me some breathing techniques, and now I'm not claustrophobic anymore. But when you get in that car, you're in a small cage, you're trapped in against the seat, you can only move your head a little bit. It gets a little nerve-wracking, but there's maybe 3 races I had that, and I don't have that anymore. It's a breathing technique she taught me.
So what some of the other challenges that you have while racing besides just being claustrophobic? I know you did just come off of a medical leave for a year, was it? Say a year?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get back into racing? What were some challenges you had to overcome?
It was the beginning of the year. I mainly do it to be with him. That's the only reason I go racing. I didn't miss any of the races except when he went to Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hardest thing is when I'm on the track, I'm more concerned about where he's at and if he's going to get in an accident. And his mother's always telling me, make sure you bring him home in one piece. Well, I can't control what he's doing in that car. So I'm thinking in my head, my wife's going to kill me if he gets hurt in that race car.
So how do you stay focused when you're out there on the track? I personally can't imagine being out there with all the noises and everything happened. How do you stay focused while racing?
Just the thing, you get in the car and you focus on what's in front of you. You have to not. The biggest problem I was always looking in the rearview mirror to see what's in the back. You can't. There's nothing there. You can't have that. I wish I had that. So you have to just focus on what's in front of you, and you have to look 3 cars in front of you because an accident can happen 3 cars in front of you, and you're on top of it very quickly. So I'm watching what's in front of me and looking at the 3 cars in front of me.
Well, what I said last week, she asked me the same question. What I said is, like, when you're sitting there in the staging area, you're thinking about 1,000 different things. You're thinking about the fans. You're thinking, is my car going to blow up? Are these welds good on the cage? Did I tighten the wheel to the right torque spec? All these things go through your head. As soon as you're on the pace laps, you're looking at all the stands. You're kind of thinking about 1,000 different things. But once you go, all of those thoughts just kind of.
Oh yeah, all you're thinking about is passing that next car.
Yeah, all that stuff goes
and
away.
Staying out of a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to make sure your engine's running properly. You're listening to see if something's rattling, like a wheel coming loose or something. But basically, you're focused on that next car to pass and focus on the 3 cars in front of you. Well, in Dan's case, he only had one in front of him. The last that nobody's crashing in front of you.
So talk to me through about the first race you guys did together. Talk to me about
That was at New Egypt.
New Egypt. Did you finish that race?
Yes, we finished together.
You did?
Mhm.
Didn't you hit me on the first turn?
No, I don't
Play
think so.
around?
I gave you a love tap.
Yeah. No, we both finished.
Dead last.
Yeah. But it was fun. And I think it was harder than what we thought it would be.
100%.
Yeah.
We were like, we won't have the fastest cars, but we'll be competitive. No, we were slower than like 5 seconds than the rest of the
I think
field.
we were slow because we were nervous.
And we didn't have the setups right in the
had
car.
No idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
I'm having breathing problems because I'm having claustrophobia. But it was all good.
Yeah.
How do you approach yourself to different ground, like the track? Let's say if the track's too muddy or this is going on with your car. How do you tackle those different challenges?
How do you go about setup for each track?
Oh, I'm not a big fan of Bridgeport. I'm a big fan at New Egypt. Let's just say Bridgeport's a nice track. I just don't do well
You
at
don't
Bridgeport.
Yeah, you don't do well. You don't do well. That we love Bridgeport.
We got to PR him over here.
I like racing at New Egypt because I do better.
There you go.
That's
much
better.
Good job.
So, when we go to Bridgeport, I'm a little nervous. He does better at Bridgeport than he does at New Egypt. Because the past couple races at Bridgeport, you finish in the top 3 or 5. The first race in New Egypt, you finished 11th because you overheated.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have finished 11th.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. You overheated.
No, we got to think about where I was running.
I'm ahead of you in points. That's all that matters,
Yeah.
All right, talk me through a morning setup, getting ready to go to a race.
When me and Dan are getting ready, we fight all morning on how to tie the cars down and what tools to bring.
All right, we'll walk through a morning. You wake up, what do you do?
I go to breakfast.
Okay, he goes to breakfast, goes to Gem Diner.
I go to Gem and I have breakfast. Sometimes he comes with me, or I take my grandson. And then we get back to the house. We load up the 2 cars, load up my car with most of his tools. Now that we have an enclosed trailer, that'll be different. And then we always would go to Wawa, fill up with gas, get some food, fill up our coolers with water, and head out.
Yeah, I'm really a stickler on getting there on time. I know the pits open 3 hours before the race starts, but we need to be there right when the gate opens. Why? I don't know. If we're even 10 minutes late after the pit gates open, he'll tell you I'm all upset.
Yeah. When I worked at Springfield, I would get to Bridgeport before
you were closer.
When I was closer, I'd go right to the car, be on the back of my car, and leave right from Springfield.
So tell me your most memorable moment of racing in general. It could be either you going to races with...
What?
All right, I asked Dan this. It's kind of a silly question. What's your favorite racing movie?
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Talladega Nights.
Talladega, obviously. Okay. Let's move on to these past 2 races that you went to. So start at your first race, the one that I didn't go to. Tell me about the one before that.
That was Bridgeport. We just won the heat races. We didn't get to run an actual.
Correct, with the 2 heat races. Yes.
So this week will be the double header.
Yes.
I think, where was I starting?
You were second.
Right, and I finished 6th.
Yes.
That's the first time I've been on a track for a year.
Yeah, we can hear you guys again.
All right, so Bridgeport we went over. You and I started front row. It was rained out.
Right.
We had a bunch of people in the pits come to that race. It was cool. A lot of friends and family came out to that one. That was good. So then...
and we went to New Egypt.
Yes.
Great weather. And... who did we qualify? I qualified 6th.
So we each ran the heat. I started 6th in the heat. You started 9th.
That's right. That's right. And then what did I qualify in the race? 15th. Right. For the race.
You started 15th, yes.
You started
6th.
The pool 6th. And then I finished
8th. And then I finished 11th.
So all in all, there was bad accident in front of me.
Yeah, a lot of torn off stuff.
I avoided. That was the Mustang, the pink Mustang, and I think it was a blue cab.
The 39 got torn up. The 82, 7R, the 51. There's a lot of the 30J, the 20, a lot of torn up stuff.
Yeah, you were at the race. It was a good. good time. Trish was there. My sister was there.
Yep. T was there. Bree was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we already
That was
talked.
your first race for a while too.
It is. I've been stuck at college with sports and
You
everything.
never
so
went to Bridgeport yet.
I haven't. I've only been to the one that we just
New
went
Egypt.
to. Yeah, New Egypt.
So when do we get to talk about you singing at New Egypt?
Oh no, we're not gonna get into that. No, we're not gonna get into that.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Father and son on the track racing, and beautiful daughter singing the national anthem.
What is one thing that you could not leave the house to go to a race without? What is one thing?
Your helmet?
That was a dumb That's a dumb answer.
Well, it is. You have to bring
Something
your
that
helmet.
you don't need.
Don't
what is
yeah,
something
like
extra
Dan
that you
said.
bring?
Dan said a torque wrench. Like there's always something you need.
Like I'm very stingent on torquing my wheels.
Oh, God.
So I could not leave without torquing a wrench. So what could you bring?
Oh, I always have to have a bottle of water in the
Oh
race
yeah,
car.
that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
I have to have a bottle of water in the race car and one ready for me when I get out of the race car.
And your
Some
stool.
water. Yeah.
Your stool.
And the stool.
And the stool,
The
yeah,
stool's
we need
more
the stool.
important than the water.
Yeah,
Definitely
the stool. I need a
So
stool.
if anybody ever walks by our pitch, you're gonna see this green stool. My father trash picked this stool, and he loves this stool more than life itself. So if you walk by the pits, go over and give the stool a little pat because my father loves that stool more.
You use that stool a million times
Yes,
built in both these cars.
Yes, he's very proud of his trash pick.
And on top of his car, he has like a little handle to like help.
Yeah, you have a handle. Mhm.
Yeah, now that's old man handle. There was
Yes.
one other guy that had that. What was his name?
Everett.
Yeah,
Yes.
he had a handle too.
Oh, we have someone commented. We have love you guys, love this. Low key kind of wish you were my racing dad. Hashtag K9. That's very nice.
Oh, Bob Johnson.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is very nice.
So we have talked. There was some people that you did talk about in the pits and stuff. So give us more of an insight of who those people are.
In the pits?
Yeah, the
Oh,
pits
like
with
the
you
family
guys.
that came?
Yeah, give us more of an insight. We
Uh,
already talked about Matt. Obviously, we could give Matt another shout out. He does
Matt,
so much.
Bree, T, Bree's mom.
Yeah, they're normal people. That's why when I said at the race, Matt's there all the time.
Yeah,
You
Don
can't
and Bob.
race without him.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to know more about Matt? Is that what you're asking?
It could be anybody. Just give us more in depth of because you did
Well,
name
Matt-
off
I
some
mean,
people.
Matt
so.
used to help both of us out, and then
Matt
prepping
helps
the
you out
cars.
a lot.
Yeah. Matt helps prep both the cars. His job is to torque the wheels. I set the torque wrench. I give it to him, and then he torques it. And then he helps you get in, and then Bree helps me get in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Matt help us on. Yeah, Matt's been a huge help.
That's the one thing he don't want. I could care less about torque.
Oh no, I am so he ugga I'm like click click like no. Mm-mm.
What
Yeah,
about some other family members that come and to the
Donna's
races?
been to a bunch.
Scott Carlisle. Scott
yes.
Carlisle actually won the 50-50
50 at New Egypt last year. Yeah.
And then he bought us all T-shirts with the winning.
Yes.
Oh,
that was
that's
really
awesome.
cool.
We had a
Yeah.
bunch of my robotics friends there at Bridgeport. It was good to see all of them. Yeah, I mean, usually most of the family or friends come out at least once or twice a year. Donna comes out a lot more. Scott comes out a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's nice to. Well, it's always a party. Usually a party in our pits. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
There's
one
usually a
thing
lot
that
of
was
people.
Dan made a point at every race we go to before we even got our cars completely unloaded was we go around to every driver,
Yeah.
shake hands, and introduce ourselves when we were new. And I think that went a long way because now all the drivers respect us in the pits,
Mhm.
and they know we have any tool they need. They come over to just grab it.
I'm an
I mean,
overpacker. So
yeah,
we
we
have a lot
don't
of
even have to
tools.
ask.
Yeah.
They just go see Stein's. They got it. I mean, we've given our welders out. We've given out a bunch of stuff, you
Yep.
know, and they know we're there to help anybody that needs help. It's, it's friendly competition out on the track, but we don't want you to go home because you don't have a tool.
Yep.
Awesome. So what are your plans for moving forward? What are your hopes and your wishes moving on for the rest of the season? What are your goals?
My goal was to finish in the top 10 in points. Yeah. we
Okay.
talked about it. Well, you asked me that earlier, and I don't know if I'll race next year. I think this might be my last year, and Devon Stein will be in the 97 car.
Gotta learn how to drive stick.
Yeah.
We'll teach her how to drive a stick. We'll see how it goes, But like I said, it's a lot of stress in that car, watching him and worrying about him and myself, So I'd rather be on the pit box worrying about the two of you than me being strapped in there. But we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. That's all of my questions. If Dan, you have any?
And we
please.
got young Rowan going to be go-karting soon.
Put him in a quarter midget. in
Yeah,
a couple
quarter
years.
midget, yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, say a prayer now. I have my favorite song.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Tell me your favorite song.
Kickstart My Heart.
Okay. Dad, what's yours like? What's your good like
if
pumping
you were
up
gonna,
song?
before you strap into the car, you're about to go racing the Daytona 500, and you get to listen to
Thunder.
Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thunderstruck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. I have had a few people reach out about being on the show. So if there's anybody out there that would like to be on the show, message me on Facebook or however you can get a hold of me, and we will get you slotted up. So if you are watching this and not a driver or anything like that, we do have some drivers that are going to be on here in the near future. So be sure to stay tuned for that. I want to thank Devon for her continued hard work in putting this together. I know we're still working out some bugs here, some issues, but we will work our way through that. I also want to commend you, Dad. You did very well in the interview. You did a lot better than I thought
he was
gonna do.
nervous.
Yeah.
He was nervous.
Yeah, he speaks better than I do. You're a lot more fluent and rolls off the tongue a lot better than I do. I also think you run a lot better this year than you have in the past years, and I think you should be proud of yourself for that.
Definitely.
2 races.
Yeah, but I think those 2 races you've done better
Compared
than
to your first year, definitely you're not taking an extra victory lap for anything like that.
Yeah, finishing 15th and taking an extra lap. Yeah.
Still beat you on that race.
Yeah, it's because you did an extra lap.
I wanted to finish just like the time we got kicked out of Evergreen because you drove 5 laps with a flat tire tearing up their macadam.
Yeah, but I still okay.
You wanted to finish the race.
Yes, but
right?
you finished the race and then did an extra lap.
Now you got sparks flying, putting a groove through the whole track.
That track's a mess.
They
anyway,
didn't want us to come back.
Those Enduros are a mess anyway.
Amanda said you guys are great, and she's been typing in the chat, so shout out to Amanda.
Oh, thank you very much. You have all the money in the world. Okay, money's not an option, and you get to buy 1 race car. Which one is it? Let me ask you this: out of all the divisions that run on our 2 local dirt tracks, you get to have all the money in the world. What division are you racing in?
I race or I pay for you to race? I think I would do wing cars.
Sprints?
Yeah.
No way.
Those ones that like drift like crazy?
Wingy dinghies, yeah.
Really?
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I would be terrified to do
I
that.
thought he was gonna say a street stock because that's what he knows, but
Yeah, but the sprint's still a V8.
yeah, but this is okay. That's what
I
expected he was gonna say.
that would
Yeah,
that would
gonna
scare
run?
me.
I'm gonna run
Street-
4 cylinders for a while.
Yeah.
I eventually like to get to the street stocks. I just don't know. I don't know anything about
I
those.
think
What's
we should
the-
sell
wait,
my
what's-
car, your car, and put you in a street
No,
stock. Now
no.
I can build the motor.
That
I
Honey
grew up
Carlo,
on
the Honey
building
Carlos.
so-
I know Honey Carlo's not going anywhere.
Wait, what's the
Well,
difference? Wait, what's the difference between 4 cylinders and street stock?
Very different.
8-cylinder engines.
Yeah, so the engines are different, suspension's different. For my car, not all 4 cylinders, rear wheel drive versus front wheel drive, very different. That's carbureted versus fuel injected. There's 1,000 different things.
Oh wait, I have a good question. Sorry
Yes.
if I cut you off.
Nope.
If you could race with anybody, any past racer, if you can race with anybody, who would it be?
What's a good one?
Besides him,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like any past racer, a
Ernie
NASCAR
Irvin.
driver.
Ernie Irvin. Okay.
What about you, Dan?
Mhm.
What about you?
Any driver?
It could be
In the world.
anybody. Anybody. It doesn't even have to be a driver.
And I could pick it and happen tomorrow.
oh, it had
Yeah.
to be. Oh, I didn't know. I thought I'd be a driver.
It can be.
Mine would be Matt. I think he does a lot. It'd be cool to get him in a car.
That's
Or
good.
Bree. No. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about racing Bree.
I feel like Bree would
You'd
just
be
come out with her
nervous
little
about
go.
her.
Bree would just
What?
come out in her little go kart.
Yeah.
The problem is when you have somebody you're attached to, you'll get nervous.
Yeah.
They're gonna get hurt.
Matt.
Okay, and then what if it
I
would be?
thought I had to be a race car
Well,
person.
well, it can be. What if it was a race car driver? Who would it be?
If it wasn't a
I
driver.
said Ernie.
If
Oh,
it wasn't Ernie.
it wasn't a driver. Well, he already said Matt, so I got to pick somebody else. I'd put you in the car.
Not
Or-
Scott?
Scott's old.
Oh!
If he's watching, he's gonna be heartbroken.
Yeah, he's too old.
Oh wait,
Okay.
someone said Davey Allison.
Okay. Who
All
said
right,
that?
yeah.
That's a good one. Who said that?
That K9.
Oh, Bob Johnson.
I was just gonna
Okay,
guess
okay,
it was
okay.
him.
Yeah.
I
that's a good
really
one.
was. I was
That's
gonna
good.
guess it was him.
That's good. Okay. All right.
I don't know. I like I said, it's apparent I do some damage to some cars, so I don't know how well I would be.
Yeah.
No, you know how to smash them up and blow up motors. You've done 2 of them already.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, R.I.P. the Hondas. All right, well, if anybody else doesn't have any other questions or anything, I would say my dad. Amanda said her dad. Okay, it's a good one.
That's a good one. Well, Amanda and Jim, that's her dad. They raced the same car at one point.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
Good answers. Good answers. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to say, if you don't want to talk
Anything
about
else?
any.
We actually got along on this interview.
We
I
did,
know.
yeah.
I
It
thought this was
doesn't
gonna go
happen a lot.
south
It doesn't
really
happen a
fast.
lot.
The
When we were
setup
building
was
the
questionable.
cars, we'd be throwing wrenches at each
Oh my
other,
gosh.
yelling.
I would just be chilling in the living room. Both of them come in at different ends of the house, and they ask me for an opinion. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Hello. It would be bad.
Yeah.
The slamming, yeah, all of it. All right, well.
I said it's got to go 2 inches to the right. He'd say it's got to 2 inches to the left. Even though he knew it had to go to the right, he'd say
Old
to the
school
left just
and
to
new
piss me
school.
off.
Old school, new school. Literally right there in front of you, folks.
We build things differently. Like the torquing is a great example. Like to me, everything's got to be torqued to spec. He just ugga runs it on. So that's
when he
just,
first bought a Camaro, he had to have this Camaro.
I was 17 years old, didn't know a thing about cars.
And the thing was, he's going to fix the door handle. Right? He spent a week on the door handle.
That's an exaggeration.
All right, 3 days.
That's an
I had the
exaggeration,
tool
Joe.
sitting on the top
He
shelf.
didn't tell me I had
It
the
would
tool.
take 2 seconds to take
He
it
didn't tell
off.
me I had the tool.
I wanted to see if he figured it out.
Another thing we did is the old automatic Cavalier I drove into the house.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
true.
gosh,
So-
that was
So
bad.
I had an old automatic Cavalier and it was smoking like a pig, just smoking. And
No brakes.
No brakes, but I thought it had enough brakes, and I wanted to back it into the garage so I could work on the engine bay like
Tell him
outside.
not to.
And he's like, "Don't back that in. There's no brakes." I'm like, "There's enough brakes. They'll be okay." But I had to rev this thing to the moon to get it to go in reverse to get it to back in. And while it's doing that, it's pouring smoke all through the house to the point where I can't see anything anymore. The house is filled with smoke. The garage is filled with smoke. Everything's filled with smoke. And there's like a bump that you got to get up into the garage. And I'm like rocking this car on the bump, and I finally hit the throttle hard enough for it to roll up. And it's like it's backing into the garage. And I go to hit the brake, and the pedal goes right to the floor. And I'm like, well. He told me, boom, right in the
Big
house.
old hole in
big
the
old
door.
hole, Yep.
They had to open all the windows.
Oh my
in
gosh,
The house.
I was upstairs in my room and I was like, what is going? The smoke was coming under my door from upstairs.
I probably hit that house at like 15 miles an hour.
The one door still doesn't shut.
That might be a little fast, maybe like 8, but I hit it. Yeah, the door don't shut right now.
Rippled all of the panels on the floor.
My older sister, our older sister, had this like window that she had at her wedding, and she cherished it because it was at her wedding, and that was in 1,000 pieces. A shoe rack was in 1,000 pieces. My mother came home, she was all pissed off, and I really.
Yo, what'd he do? He hit it.
Yes, but you made me tell her.
I said you got to tell Mom.
I tried to hide the hole, so she comes in there. I tell her what happened. She's all mad at me, and I'm like, "Mom, you want to know the worst part?" She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Now my bumper's dented," and then that really set that really set her off.
I remember.
Oh, she would have been livid if she was there with all the smoke in the house.
That was bad.
Oh yeah, I remember one time. I don't know what car it was, but it would only move if you pushed it. So Dad was in his truck. I was in the car stepping on the brakes or something, and you were in between the two cars pushing it with your legs.
Oh yeah, because we didn't want to dent your bumper, so I was wedged.
That
I was
so.
pushing.
We used the front trees in front of the house to straighten the old Cavalier's frame with the come along.
Yeah, pinned it. Yep.
Or you driving around the yard all the time, Mom's yelling.
Gotta test it.
Yep.
Gotta test it. I got a screaming match with the code enforcer.
Oh yeah.
Like the cars on the front porch. Yeah, that was great.
That was a thing.
Okay.
All right.
I
well,
think
that's
I'm-
definitely.
Are you
Yeah, I'm good. I don't have any other
good?
questions.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Good.
Anybody
All right.
like to thank?
I just thank the family for always being there.
Cool.
Alrighty. If anybody else in the chat wants to say any last words, you're more than welcome. We'll give you guys a second to say those because I know it's kind of delayed. But
I'd like to take this opportunity, thank Heinz Automotive, thank CLG, Drift Unleashed, and Amanda's Content Creations for all they do for me. Wait for any other questions. Thank you, Dev, again for doing this. This wouldn't be possible without her, so be sure to thank Devon.
of course, no problem. We're not
Next
getting
year driver, Devon.
I don't know. I think I would be good.
Yep.
I don't know a thing about racing, so it might take me a minute.
You can't even drive stick.
We'll teach you. His first stick shift car I had to drive home when he bought it, remember?
Yeah, that's because
I taught you in a parking lot how to drive.
I bought a FRS and I didn't know how to drive stick, but I bought it. And
He bought it and I drove it home.
Well, you drove it off the lot because
Right.
I had an idea of how to drive stick. I just needed to
test
practice
drive it too.
Yeah. And then we drove it to a parking lot. We practiced, and then I drove it home.
All right. Well, we're not getting anything else, so
Okay.
I guess I'll end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Dad, for being on this podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. You did a great job. You're doing so good with racing. Wow, racing. I hope you continue that.
Bridgeport this weekend, doubleheader.
Yeah.
So we will be back on next Monday to recap that.
Yeah, also, like we said, if any other racers or anybody wants to get on here, we would love to have you. Wow, words are really difficult for me tonight. But yeah, with that being said, we're gonna end this episode here. So great to see everybody. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.